Okay, with the success of Saw 1, that means, you know what? You gotta do a sequel. Whenever 1 does well, you have to milk that for all you can get. Saw 2, it gave some interesting things. It's a lot bloodier than the second one. You can tell they had a bigger budget. And it also started what I like to call the opening trap. In the first Saw, you really didn't have anything going on before the credit, before the main title. And in this one, you had the reverse Venus Flytrap. See if I can get that in there. That's actually me at a horror convention with the actual contraction on. Took like three guys to get it on with all the leather straps and the harness, and it weighs I think 25, 30 pounds. It was heavy, and when you touch the front is legitimate metal. And it really sets the tone for a much more violent, much more bloodier Saw. Now, in the first one, you had the revelation of who the killer is. I didn't go into a lot of detail because, I just want to give you a bare bones idea. Go out and watch the movies. If you like them, great, cool. Try to see all of them before Friday, or at the very least Saturday or Sunday. Give Saw 5 a good opening weekend. Okay. On to Saw 2. Saw 2 pretty much deals with, the main plot of people trapped in the house being filled with poisonous gas, and everyone having individualized traps. Good concept. You have people who are actually fairly decent actors, but they never really get to do anything, never actually go anywhere. So pretty much, it is a booby-trapped house. And for the people who actually get into their rooms and listen to their tape, you get a little bit of background on them. And for some people, it gets to the point where you don't even know what their background story is. You got a person who died in the hallway from it, and then the woman who was in, those Chinese finger traps? Think about that, but your wrists are in it, and it's overhead. And it's jagged metal. So if you put your arms in there, you try to pull them out, you're just going to scratch and just bleed everywhere. It's a trap that, from a visual standpoint and the way the lighting was done, looks beautiful. Because you got blood coming out of her wrists, filling what looks kind of like a fish tank up in the air. So you have the light coming down from the top, slowly becoming red, casting out really, really good practical effects. This one, people normally talk about the opening trap, where the guy had either, he was a snitch, for lack of a better term. His choice was either cut out his eye or have a death mask close on him. And of course, death mask close on him. Done. Brown bread. But the basic plot is you've got, I want to say Donnie Wahlberg. That might be him. I could be getting him confused with someone else. Anyways, he's your typical divorced, hard-ass cop. His kid is a little pain in the ass. Gets in all these little sorts of problems, has a little bit of a rap sheet, nothing too big. He ends up getting kidnapped by Jigsaw. And it's all part of this trap to try to see, try to figure out if this cop can actually be a good cop and not be, a somewhat dirty cop. With all these other people more or less being pawns in it. And his son is also one of the people inside the house that's slowly dying. That's your basic premise. You got some really good traps, like the fire trap for Obby. Very good. It's an actual practical trap. So the person inside there is actually being lit on fire. It's very good. I liked it. I thought that worked. The way for him to escape it, though, was to kind of just get burned more. Because, the tape mentions something like, when you're in hell, the devil's your only friend. And there's a devil pointing to what ends up being the little gas line thing. And you go, okay. Decent trap. The best trap is the one Shawnee Smith takes. And that is the needle pit trap. One thing though, Shawnee Smith, if I recall correctly, was pregnant at the time. That's how come she's in, kind of like more like a hospital-style garb as opposed to regular clothing. The big twist at the end of this one ends up being that when they get through the trapped house, and they finally make their way to the basement, the basement area ends up being the bathroom of the first Saw movie. And the people and the bodies are there, dead. You can tell it's been a while. And then you can see a really great scene where the main protagonist finds out that there's a number on the back of their heads that works to unlock combination lock to get a cure for the poison. You know, he's already got a couple of numbers, and they're like, well, how are you going to find out what yours is? What's he do? Grabs the scruff of his neck, just cuts that off. It's sick, it's visceral, and you go, wow, that's intense. You know, you deserve to actually make your way out of this. And then the big crux of it ends up being, by the time the dad gets there, everyone's dead. And they've been kind of dead for a while. The whole time when he was interrogating Jigsaw was like, no, I just want to talk with you. If we can talk for like about an hour or so, you'll find your son safe and secure. No, he was apeshit, beats him up, he's taken to the house. As he's there, the safe opens up, and there's this kid with the oxygen mask on. He's been fine the whole time. So when he's there, that's when he gets attacked by the apprentice. And the apprentice is Amanda. Amanda was Shawnee Smith from the first movie. She was the one who actually survived her trap. And she ends up being the apprentice. And that ends up being the big twist at the end of Saw 2 is who the apprentice is. So Saw 1, you find out who the killer is, and you get a very light detailing of who he is. In Saw 2, you get a lot more about who he is and why he does what he does. And then in Saw 2, your main twist ending is who the accomplice is, who his apprentice ends up being. If I had to rank all 4 Saw movies, I'd put Saw 2 at the bottom. It seemed to do way too much in the way of gore. I'd almost wish that if they were taken out maybe 1 or 2 people from the trapped house scenario, and actually be able to develop a few of the other ones just a little bit more, because you get a lot from that tape. And you get people dropping, like, in the first room, someone dies. You learn nothing about his character. The girl who dies in the hallway, learn nothing about her character. The girl who bleeds to death in the sick, Chinese finger trap thing, you learn nothing about her. Even if it's making the theatrical release in an unrated extended version, throw in a little bit. I like to know more about the characters to actually kind of care about them. Because sometimes, if you just have the interaction between characters, you know a little bit, but you're like, if I had like a sentence or 2 more, I might actually care that they're dying and not be like, oh man, this is cool how they're dying. But, Saw 2, good, better budget, acting's a little bit better, because they actually had more than like 6 people working. And it set up a good story arc and a good story feel for the next one, which is Saw 3.